Someone once said that there's no such thing as a peaceful death. This is the thought going through the MC's mind as just a few seconds ago, he was hit by a car while he was delivering a package. The MC's sad about the way he's dying and he wonders if his life was an ordinary one. No, it was not close to ordinary. He went to a local university like others. He studied for the 9th grade civil service examination for 7 years and currently he is 33 years old and a courier service delivery man. He curses out as he thinks about his mother who did everything she could to take care of her son. She worked as an insurance agent, a nursing home caretaker, and a florist, and she even worked at a snack bar after his father's death. She took care of him from university till civil servant student. What was left for his mom was just dead then. She passed away from pancreatic cancer last year after suffering all her life. He wonders if she would be proud of him when she meets him after he dies like this. After all, this good-for-nothing son was her everything. The MC sees something glowing just ahead of him which turns out to be his father's keepsake. The MC with his last strength crawled over to the keepsake caused to him. That keepsake was his life even though it was nothing. And before the MC draws his last breath, he grabs the keepsake and dies on that spot. Suddenly the keepsake starts to emit a bright light. After that the MC's soul moves into the unconscious body of another young man lying on the bed. The young man suddenly opens his eyes, sits up, and wonders why he is alive cause he is sure he died. He starts to get a headache and different sets of memories appear in his head. Memories from his past life and memories from his current life. The MC realizes that he is now Cho Y in this world. A woman nearby calls his husband Cho's son that Y has woken up and the man asks Y if he is feeling good now that he is awake. Y says except that his head is throbbing. Cho's son tells him that he has been lying down for 3 days and groaning and that is a relief that he is awake now. Y's stomach growls all of a sudden and the woman adds that he must be hungry so he must eat something if he wants to recover completely. Cho's son's face becomes grim, and his wife asks him if he has heard anything from Elder Bang. Y wonders if it is the Elder Bang that's in his memory right now. The one from the Western Zhou trading that's monopolizing the salt and iron in Manhwa. You can make a sword only if you have the place given by Western Zhou Trading. With a sign, Cho's son tells his wife that there are a lot of people who are waiting in line to meet Elder Bang, and that he only wishes he had good luck. His wife asks what the Wa Sword family says, but he is left silent. Y thinks about Wasio Myun, the merchant of the Wa Sword family. Because of him, Cho's iron workshop has been declining. Under the condition that he would talk with Elder Bang, he scammed them after receiving 2,000 coins. Cho's son tells his wife to take care of Y. He is going outside for a while. Shortly after that, Y comes out of his room, thinking he is hopeless. Even after he wakes up, he keeps thinking if the memories that came to his mind belong to Cho Y. His father, Cho's son, is a blacksmith in Cho's iron workshop. His mother, Gukka Yang, is wise and loving. His immature brother, Cho Hyuk, longs for power, and his sickly younger sister Cho Yun. The body's owner Cho Y memorized all the 1,000 characters classic and Confucian analects in just 3 months. The vast amount of knowledge that comes to the mind on and off is not the knowledge that Cho Y had, because this isn't some knowledge that has been experienced by one person. Above all, the most questionable thing is the word Grand Marshal that deeply engraved in his mind. When that word comes to his mind, somehow there's unbearable rage soaring in him, and honestly, that's what confuses him the most. He wonders if it is something like dimension shifting, but he still clearly remembers the pain before he died. He is in a situation where it's hard to even accept death. He is confused cause thoughts like, what is going on, how and why, keeps going on in his mind. He wonders what he is supposed to do here and why he is alive again. He angrily asks this question to the king, commander, judge, or god. He only has 7 years of experience as a civil service student and had various part-time jobs, and now what is left for him to become the master of Mugong? Won't there be any strange encounter or a great master nearby, just like in the novels? He hears someone make a noise behind the building and he walks over only to find his brother Hyung swinging a wooden sword. He wonders if he knows Mugong well. He quietly looks at his brother practicing and wonders why he's so skinny. He even thinks his friend who was in the kendo club during elementary school was better than him. Why calls Hyung and Hyung asks if he is feeling good now. Why answers it 50-50 and he can at least move. Then he asked his brother where he learned Mugong from. Hyung cheerfully explains that he learned them from his friend Jang after he bought him a drink, and that Jang is from the military. Why with a bored look thinks that is no wonder cause it's useless for him to even learn this. Why asks his brother if he has learned from a really strong master other than the neighborhood soldier. Hyung furious asks if Why is making fun of him. He knows very well that he went to various prefectures to learn Mugong, but he hasn't a single strong master. Why apologizes but thinks that his brother ran away from him saying he was going to learn Mugong. Why tells his brother that it must be harder to learn Mugong from the guardian of Murim. Hyung sighs and tells Why that he never thought he would be this dumb. This statement completely ticks off Who is thinking he does want to hear a word from his brother though. Hyung explains that the guardians of Murim legendary figures that common people like them might see once in their lifetime. At least he shouldn't delude himself into thinking that he could learn from them. Why thinks that it must be difficult if his brother who is a Mugong fanatic also gave up. But his brother excitedly asks him if he's finally ready to learn Mugong, and asks if he should teach him. But Why dismisses this idea and asks his brother to just work hard. He wonders that in martial arts novels, you have strange encounters, and then Mugong from masters everywhere you go, and those novels are nothing but scams. Why stops and thinks that he feels dreary but still he is alive anyway. He desperately begged for another take of breath which is better than death. He proclaims that he is Cho Wai from now on and that is the only way to live. It's 2 months since he arrived in the Central Plains, and his daily routine is simple. In the morning, he would chop firewood together with his brother. In the afternoon, he would make charcoal, clean the smithy, and save the occasional customer who would appear once in a blue moon. Fortunately, his father managed to obtain some money, so they didn't starve even though he's not sure where the money came from. As the family sits to eat, his mother and father come in arguing about something. It turns out that the father borrowed 60 silver taels from a loan shark. His mother was shocked, knowing they had been spending borrowed money all this time, and she questioned her husband how on earth were they going to repay the debt. His father says that they need money to survive and buy iron ore, so he has to borrow it. So his wife should just shut up. The woman becomes furious, knowing that if the husband fails to pay back the money within a month, the loan shark will cut off his limbs. This statement leaves the whole family feeling sad, but the father furiously shouts that they would have starved to death if not for that money, since all the food on the table was bought with that money. The wife becomes silent after hearing that. The husband reassures his wife not to worry since he will figure everything out eventually, so they should go and eat. Why thinks to himself that they are in deep shit. As the family sits together and eats, Why notices that the atmosphere is depressing, but honestly, what's more unbearable to him is the smell of the house. He knows the dead is a serious problem, but the house is also terribly unhygienic. His father puts down his chopsticks and says it's been a long time since he last ate his fill. As he continues to eat, Why is disgusted. His sister tells their mother that she hasn't washed her hair in a month, and the mother praises the girl, which shocks Y as he thinks that is not something to be praised for, and that he just can't get used to this place. He abruptly stands on his feet, knowing that he's at his limit. He must fix everything that is wrong with his house and the family. He goes to his father and asks if his father knows where he can get some stiff bristles. The father suggests boar fur instead, since he's pretty sure the Mo family has a lot of that since they are hunters. If Y wants, he can go and get him some. He thanks his father. The next day, Y receives a big sack of boar fur, which surprises him cause originally he was thinking about making toothbrushes for their family. But he has nothing else to do anyway, so he has decided to make toothbrushes since it doesn't require a lot of skill. After taking the first one, his sister comes over to ask what he's doing. Y tells her to go back to her room so she doesn't catch a cold in this weather. His sister becomes upset and quickly rushes into the house. After she's gone, Y continues to make more toothbrushes, and by evening time he has made over 250 toothbrushes. But his father is confused as to what it is. So Y takes one and shows his father how to use it. His father, after using the toothbrush, realizes that he feels refreshed. Y tells him that it is called a toothbrush and that he just invented it. His father then realizes that they can probably sell it, and Y agrees. They gather the rest of the toothbrushes and head to the market. In the market, it says that the toothbrush is a big hit, and everybody wants to buy some. After 4 hours, they sold 250 toothbrushes at 2 coins each, so that makes 500 coins in total, or 5 silver taels. His father, in his excitement, says out loud the materials needed to make the toothbrush for other merchants to hear. They decide to stock up on those materials and make more of them, but this time with the whole family working on it, they will be able to make 3,000 toothbrushes in 15 days. Y thinks if they raise the price a little and the cost of the materials, they will earn a profit of about 80 silver taels from selling all of those, and they will have money left over even after paying the debt. And with that, both father and son are determined to make more toothbrushes and get more money. They bought a lot of boar fur, wood, and plants, and when his mom heard about the new business, she was ecstatic that she took the lead and got everybody to work at night on making toothbrushes. The target is 3,000 toothbrushes. Half a month later, Y and his father are shocked to find out that a lot of people are selling toothbrushes in the market. Ones that are even prettier than their own. Well, it is not a surprise since they call out the materials for making it in the middle of the market. Y is upset that he forgot that there is no such thing as intellectual property in this era. His father asks what they should do, but Y is also looking for the answer to that question since the debt will be due in 15 days from now. He asks if they will cut off his father's arms if he asks for an extension. Both Y and his father are saddened as they stand in the middle of the marketplace silently. A few days later, Y stands in front of his house, wondering what he should do now. In those damn dimensional shifting novels, the main character always does everything in a flash though. Should he create electricity? Well, he doesn't know how to. Should he make a steam engine? What's the point of it if there's no railroad? Then should he try making a gun? He only knows how to shoot, not making it. While he continues to think, his sister comes to him asking for water, and he tells her to stop washing her hair. She asks that, didn't he tell her not to wash it yesterday too? He tells her tomorrow no, she can wash it the day after tomorrow, and she furiously asks what he is trying to say. He tells her that it takes 4 hours in total to draw water, and come back if she wants to wash her hair, she can just go and get it herself. Hyung comes outside and asks his siblings if they slept well before he starts swinging his wooden sword around again. Y wonders if his brother is stupid, his house is ruined, shouldn't he at least pretend to care? The younger sister runs over to Hyung's side to ask if he doesn't think Y has changed somehow. Hyung asks how, and she explains that the last time, when they collected the ingredients for the toothbrush, how could he guess the exact number of toothbrushes to be than a sip of tea? She has never seen anyone that fast before. Hyung says that he was surprised too and that his brother is like those arithmetic geniuses from the merchant groups. Did he learn arithmetic as well? Why wonders if it was that interesting to calculate it with multiplication that anyone in modern times can do. But why realizes that people here don't know about the multiplication table. In this era, regular arithmetic is also considered technology. His sister goes on about how he suddenly became good at talking. He uses all kinds of complicated sentences too. Hyung agrees and adds that there were times when he couldn't even understand what Y was talking about. Y thinks that it can't be helped since they barely learned the 1,000-character classic while he possesses the memory of the modern Cho Young-hoon. He came here after having been studying for 20 years from elementary school to civil service examination. He lived in the information age where he could acquire information through TV and smartphone every day. He could experience the psychology and characteristics of humans just by watching dramas, movies, novels, and performances, and because of all that his younger sister just feels that he suddenly became good at talking. He comes to the realization that compared to the people of this era, he must be a genius. Y quickly asks his brother and sister to go away for a second, and then he starts writing on the ground the things the Central Plains are missing. All kinds of knowledge he has learned in modern times. Both his brother and sister are wondering what he is writing cause they have never seen those letters before. Y decides to use his knowledge of the economy from the modern era in this era. After he is done writing, he heads straight to his father's smithy and asks him to let him take over their smithy. His father is usually confused by his request and asks him to stop spouting nonsense. Y takes a seat and tells his father that he has an idea, so he is going to make it happen. His father tells him that the smithy isn't simple to operate. Furthermore, he has little experience, and above all, he doesn't have the soul of a craftsman. But Y ignores his father and asks how much more silver he thinks they can gather. His father then becomes furious at Y that even though he knows his arm will be cut off after 10 days, he still wants more. Y, continuing to ignore his father, points at the anvil and estimates that it is worth 50 silver taels, and if his father adds all the tools and materials, it will be more than 30 silver taels. His father also has the credibility and reputation of running the smithy all his life. If nothing, he should use every member of the family as collateral, and if he uses the smithy and them as collateral, he should be able to get more than 300 silver taels. What Y said just now ends up infuriating his father, but Y doesn't stop and continues to explain that the interest rate doesn't matter, and if he lends it to him, he will pay it back 3 times more. The father, still furious, thinks that Y wants to inherit the smithy, but he's willing to put up the anvil as collateral from the start. The anvil and hammer are everything for a craftsman, and this damn punk wants to use it as collateral along with the lives of his family members as well. Y tells his father that if he wants to borrow money, he should have done it properly. Why bother going to the loan shark and embarrassing himself? He should have started with the merchant first. The Waryong merchant group is said to have a close relationship with all the merchants. Why didn't you go there? His father, who continues to grow more furious, finally snaps and raises his hammer to attack his son, but stops when he sees Y's determined look. The father wonders if he has ever seen his son this bold before. It seems something has changed after he got sick. It's just like what happened with the toothbrush. Does he have some kind of plan? His father finally calms down and accepts this idea since he knows Y didn't say it without thinking. He knows Y is someone who cares so much for his sister. His father asks Y about what he is plotting. Y tells his father that he wants to make this smithy the best smithy in the whole of Manhwa. They will establish the Iron Kingdom of the Cho family in this Manhwa province. A kingdom of iron, the father asks. Does he not understand their current situation? He thought he would know that better than anyone else. Y tells his father that if he's worried about the iron ores, they'll buy ingots. Ingots are chunks obtained by removing the foreign substances from iron ore and extracting only steel. His father asks Y if he knows how much they cost. Y tells him that in terms of average market price, it should be 3 silver taels per piece. His father asks that if he already knows it, then why does he still want that? Y starts to explain that the iron plows are the best seller of their smithy. They are a must-have item for farmers. No, it is the best tool for farmers. They will be their main focus, and they are going to reduce the price of all the goods, including the iron plow, by 30%. His father is surprised and tells him selling an iron plow that costs 40 coins for only 28 coins is nonsense. Does he know how difficult it is to make an iron plow? It would take 15 days to even make one. Y tells his father that it only takes that long when you include the time spent on extracting steel from iron ore, and why is he being like this? If his father works with a muzzle, Y thinks it will be possible in 4 days though. His father becomes furious again and tells him that 4 days is impossible. After struggling with the anvil for 4 days, enduring the pain of having his whole body tear apart, does Y want him to make a profit with only 20 iron coins? The pay of a lumberjack is 10 coins a day, that's 40 in 4 days. Y tells his father that he never said he would be the one doing it, and his father becomes stunned. Y asks if there are any places in this area, or throughout Manhwa province, that sell large iron plows for only 28 taels. If news of this spread, people will rush here. Since even if they resell them, they are only going to get more expensive than that, and he is planning to make at least 30 of those iron plows per day. His father asks him if he has gone insane. But Y cheerfully says he is fine. His plans to start small by hiring 20 people for now. From now on, his father only needs to be in charge of educating the hires. First charcoal men. As for the explanation, Y wants his father to leave that part to him. 2 people in one group, working time is 12 hours, and the required number of people taking turns doing shifts is 4. The father silently continues to listen. Next, bellow men. Bellowing is a simple task, but it's quite taxing since you have to stay in front of the fire. 2 people will also take turns to do it. Similarly, working time is 12 hours with a total of 4 people. Of course, his father will have to guide them until they can gauge the fire temperature. Next is the forging men. Forging is the most difficult job, and we will need most people here. Right now there's only one anvil, so they will need to have 4 people in a group. Each group will work for 12 hours in total, and a total of 8 people are required for this. Since they will be the center of our smithy, please educate them carefully and give them the most encouragement. Casting men. Their importance is only after the forging men, 2 people per group. Alternative shift after every 12 hours, and the required number of people is 4. For the time being, he will be in charge of sales and promotion, and dealing with clients. Since the scale of their smithy is still small right now, he'll do this himself, but later they'll have to look for more people. Y continues to explain that the daily wages of the charcoal men are 8 iron coins, and the bellowing men are 9. He has set the forging men's wage at 12 and the caster's wage at 11. At this rate, they are probably going to be gathered like clouds. If the operation is carried out without a break for 12 hours day and night, the total daily wages are 208 coins. It's about 2 silver taels. All these calculations leave the father confused, but Y continues to explain that, in the beginning, since the proficiency of the forging men and caster is not high enough, the expected production of all iron plows is about 20. Of course, production will increase gradually. The expected initial profit is 400 iron coins or 4 taels. Even after paying all the wages, you still have 2 taels left. In a month, you'll have 60 taels. Of course, all profits except for the cost of ingots and their family living expenses will be reinvested. They will not stop until they increase the size of our smithy by at least 20 times. Do you need me to explain it to you one more time? Y asks his father this question after closing his book. The father is left speechless by what he just heard, mainly because he didn't understand most of what his son said. Y thinks that his father is speechless at his incredible presentation. It was worth it to watch until dawn every time Apple announced a new product. His father thinks about the soul of a craftsman, which is by enveloping one's body in fire. He breathes life into iron. The whole process is a job that the craftsman has to handle all by himself. But now he wants his father to distribute it systematically to concentrate on production. It's not something he would do as a craftsman. But if it's 60 silver taels a month, he is willing to do it. Why tells his father that, as he said, it takes a long time for one person to learn all the trades, such as charcoal making, bellowing, casting, and forging. But what if he gives up the pretense of being a craftsman? His father then realizes that what Y said makes sense, and he asks him if he's confident this will work. Y confidently tells his father to trust him on this. So his father agrees to leave the smithy to him. The assembly line, first popularized during the Industrial Revolution and then again by Henry Ford, the concept revolutionized manufacturing processes. Day breaks on the Central Plains, and Y and his father are standing in front of a building. Y thinks that once he earns some money, the first thing he's going to do is buy a new pair of shoes, cause the pain in his feet is killing me, damn it. Y turns to look at his father, who is nervous about going into the building. He asked his father why he was not going inside. Y sighs and starts moving forward to the building. He thinks his father's skill as a craftsman is completely wasted on him. He's just a naive man. When gets closer to the entrance, the guard directs him to go and wait in line with the rest of the customers. Y thinks that this is what is expected of a professional security guard. He's got a good eye for people, and then he moves to join the line with his father. While waiting in line, he notices that most of the customers come out depressed and that something is off. Soon the guard announces that it is his and his father turns, so Y tells his spend father to wait outside for him, and he moves into the building alone. Y meets the merchant named Lee Young Jae, who asks him how much money he wants. Y notices that his voice sounds completely different. He asks for 300 silver taels. Merchant Lee takes a good look at Y and asks that he be thrown out. But Y quickly tells Merchant Lee that if he sends him away now, he guarantees that in 3 years, he will regret it. It'll be the biggest mistake he ever made. Merchant Lee is shocked, and Y decides to be frank with him. Shortly, he'll be the boss of the biggest manufacturing of metal household tools in town, and if he refuses his offer now, he will be throwing away his only opportunity to monopolize the market. Merchant Lee asks Y if he is from Golden Hill Smithy or the Blazing Black Metal Smithy. Y responds that he is the second son of the Bangtae Village Cho family smithy, so naturally, he's here representing the Cho family smithy. Merchant Lee slams his table out of anger and asks Y if he is kidding him, or does the name Fortune Dragon Trading Company sounds like an easy mark to him. Y tells Merchant Lee he knows that his family doesn't have a good reputation. That's why the relationship should not be one based on mutual trust. Y then takes out his book and pledges everything valuable in their smithy as collateral. 150 kilograms of iron ore worth 50 silver, 2 large hammers, 2 small hammers, 3 metal files, and 6 iron racks worth around 40 silver in total. Their 220 feet superscript 2 smithy is worth 40 silver and 1,500 kilograms of rubber, 1,000 kilograms of bamboo, 200 kilograms of charcoal, and 150 kilograms of tree bark in stores, which are worth approximately 12 silver altogether. Everything adds up to 150 silver taels. He will put up all of that as collateral. Merchant Lee asks about the remaining 150 silver taels, and Y puts up the lives of the 4 people in his family, which are his parents, his brother, and himself, as collateral. Merchant Lee is alarmed by his answer. Y explains that he knows that illegal slaves are traded in the black market, but he's not sure how much they are worth. However, going by the value of legal slaves, the 4 of them should be worth at least 150 silver taels. Merchant Lee thinks Y seems crazy, but what he says makes sense, and finds the situation interesting. Merchant Lee sees Y did his math well, but he failed to take into account the middleman fees. So what about this? He will send one of his men to his house to confirm the existence of the items he mentioned, and then they can talk. Also, there will be labor costs and time involved in moving and selling the goods, especially when the slaves are involved. Y replies that's why he is asking Merchant Lee if he would like to take a risk and grab the opportunity to make a deal with him. Merchant Lee asks Y if he is getting ahead of himself, Just what makes him think that making a deal with his smithy will benefit their Fortune Dragon Trading Company? Y says he will sell all of the items listed here to the Fortune Dragon Company at 70% of the market price. Merchant Lee is shocked. Y is selling the metal cattle plows for only 28 silver apiece, and can he break even from selling at these prices? But Y ignores his question and asks him if he's fine with it. They can sign a contract right away. The please becomes silent for a while, and Y tells Merchant Lee that if he's unwilling to work with him, then he guesses he will go to 100 Trading Company instead. Merchant Lee becomes furious, and thinks Y is trying to threaten him by saying that he'll give his business rival the same offer. Merchant Lee tells his subordinate, Administrator Ha, to bring him 1,000 silver taels. Administrator Ha is surprised, and Merchant Lee says that illegal slaves are worth much more in the black market, so they must respond in kind. These people are living their fates in his hands. Whether he sells them as manual labor or to brothels, that's his decision to make. Also need the rest of the collateral. If Y can't repay the investment, just take it as him buying Y and his family for 1,000 silvers. Y reassures him not to worry, that wouldn't be happening. A few days later, Y and his father are walking out of the house, and Y asks his father what is the most abundant thing in this era. Y tells his father that it is manpower. The first thing they needed to do after returning to Bangtae village was to put up a recruitment ad in the market. Now shall we go and see how many people showed up? And then he opens the gate. And we see a lot of people waiting to get jobs. Y tells them to please stand in line for the interview. But his father is shocked to see a lot of people. Y tells his father that first things first, talkative people are rejected cause they wouldn't be able to concentrate on their work and might incite social divisions among the employees. Second, the old and the sick are rejected cause smithy work is hard labor, and he doubts they'll be able to physically endure it. Third, overly stupid people are rejected because it wouldn't be easy for them to quickly learn new skills, which would reduce productivity. Manpower is the most important resource in any business. Know this from his experience as a blue-collar worker who worked in many jobs, and as a person who once studied reference books and the internet to achieve my dream of becoming an entrepreneur. Y welcomes the workers to the Cho family smithy. Y explains that as everyone is unfamiliar with working in a smithy, he won't be assigning shifts just yet. Everyone should assemble here in the mornings. Y gives them their employment contracts. Y asks that the people who are hired as charcoal craftsmen step up first. Whoever can read should please read it carefully. If not, he will explain the terms of the contract to them, and if they don't trust him, they are also free to show the contract to someone who can read it. Most of the employees are confused since they cannot read. Y started explaining that he mentioned it yesterday, but the daily salary for a charcoal craftsman is 8 coins, and you will be paid for overtime at a rate of 1 coin per hour. The employees become confused as to what overtime pay means. Y explains that overtime pay means you get extra for doing more work. So basically they will get paid more if they work longer hours than usual, and it is 1 coin per extra hour. Y continues, he tell them that they get a day off every week and allowance for that day, and the allowance will be 70% of the salary, that is 6 coins. The employees are wondering what a day off and an allowance is. Y tells them that it means they will get paid even on the days they don't come to work because he believes that proper rest is essential for productivity in his smithy. People need rest to begin their strength so that they can work harder than the next day. The employees get excited, they are getting paid for resting. They can make money even without working. He tells them not to be surprised because they also earn a reward for excellent work. If they manage to make more than 30 pieces of charcoal a day, they will get a 50% bonus on their daily salary. In other words, they'll get 12 coins a day. The employees are shocked at this fact. Moreover, besides the weekly day off, they get an additional day of leave once a month. You choose not to use it, though, he will pay them double the salary for that one day. And let's not forget about the annual leave as well. If they show up for work without being absent for a year, he will give them an extra 5 days of leave in the next year. Of course, like their monthly leave, they can choose to work on those for double their daily salary. This news greatly excites the employees. Why thinks it is as expected they are shocked after all these system benefits were refined over many years of capitalism. Of course, the blacksmiths, furnace attendants, and craftsmen will receive the same benefits, however, they must never speak of what happens within the smithy to others, not even their families. If you find out that they leaked information, whoever leaked the information is fired. And they shouldn't for a second think that they will be able to hide it because there are a lot of people who want to take their jobs. The employees promise not to say a word to anyone, so he quickly assigns them their jobs cause they want to work. Unfortunately, before they can work, they will need training, so Y tells them that all charcoal craftsmen should please follow him and the rest should report to his father, and they shouldn't worry about the salary. They will be paid even during the training period. The employees again promise to work hard for the smithy, and they claim this is the best paid job ever. Will Y succeed in creating the best smithy in the Central Plains? Subscribe to the channel to find out the next parts of the story.